I've been sober, free of alcohol, for 5, going on 6 years now. I stopped in one of the lockdowns. I think it was early 2021, something like that. But to be honest, it is all such a blur now. And I want to just talk about what they don't really tell you or let you know about when you stop drinking alcohol, especially because this is the longest I've ever stopped for. And I can never see myself drinking again because I'm addicted to progress and just improving and not letting my younger self down, because I don't want to get to the end of my life and live with regrets of all the things I could have done because I spent most of my life drinking. So yeah, let's just talk about the things that have happened since I've stopped. Now, obviously in the beginning, when you first stop drinking, you do feel like a bag of dicks. You feel fucking awful. And at the point when I was stopping, I was drinking a lot. It was during one of the lockdowns. I live in a pub. There was access to a lot of spirits. Everything was shut because I was on furlough. So there was just loads of stuff. I was borrowing spirits and then buying them, topping them back up, making like dirty pints and stuff. So I was getting in a pretty bad state, to be honest. But there was sort of a snap point where I just woke up one day and was like, right, fuck this. I can't keep going on about it. And then the first sort of week, you're kind of riddled with anxiety. You don't really know what to do with yourself in the evenings. But for me, what I found useful was just eating. If I'm full of food, I didn't really fancy a drink. I didn't really want anything because it just doesn't hit the same, does it? You know, on like Christmas Day, when you've eaten a load of food and you're still trying to get drunk, it just doesn't work. So what I found really useful in the beginning was just make myself full. If I'm full, I don't really fancy a drink. So that was good in the initial sort of beginning. And I feel like the initial beginning of it is just a grind. It's just getting through a minute, an hour, a day at a time until you sort of equal out a bit. And this is just almost sheer power of will at this point, just getting through this period. And by a couple of weeks, you do start to feel a bit more normal as the dust settles, as your brain levels, anxiety, things sort of settle. Oh, hello, Reggie. Decided to join me. But yeah, that first bit is just a bit of a grind. And then once everything settles, certain things happen, which I'm going to try and explain the best way I can in this video. And for me, I gave up alcohol in my early 30s. I'm 37 now, so 30, 31. Every time I'd given up in my 20s, I'd bounce back so quickly. But I think I'm trying to undo a decade, 15 years of drinking, or however many years of drinking it is, especially heavier drinking towards the end. And my brain and my body just didn't bounce back the same. I used to in my sort of 20s. When I'd give up, I'd lose like 2 stone in a month. But it took me a bit longer to lose that weight, to lose those things. It was just a little bit harder. I think the older you get, it just becomes a little bit harder just to bounce back. You're not quite as elasticated as you are when you're just a bit younger. But then certain things sort of started to happen. I sort of replaced my all or nothing mentality with drinking and sort of channeled that into like a little candle business. Well, I started Amazon FBA and I started something else, but I sort of channeled that addictive nature I've got into just other outlets. I had to keep myself busy because if I was busy in the evening, maybe doing stuff with my hands, that sounds a bit weird, then it just stopped me from wanting to drink. And I didn't really get too many cravings, to be honest. I think I was so sick of feeling a certain way and I was so determined, that just stubborn determination, that it didn't really cross my mind too much. Something just felt different this time. And I've had it before where I just get tempted easily, but there's something just snapped and changed. But once I sort of got over the period of like feeling busy, because if I'm busy all the time, I don't have to deal with emotions or escapism or thinking too much. And that's probably why I enjoyed drinking, because I was a shy little boy, grew up in a sheltered little village, and I think drinking just made me not me. It gave me, I don't know, a chance to not think and just be in a certain way. And I think that's what I enjoyed until it became a bit too much at a certain point. And then once you start having to sit with your emotions and deal with them, that's a tricky thing. And I've realized Now I'm quite a sensitive person, and that's okay. People are all different, and I think especially men, we get told we need to be a man, push your emotions down, don't cry, don't do all these things. But over the last couple of years, I've really spent time just sitting with my emotions and with my feelings. I've had a sort of a breakup with a long-term partner. My dad died, and there's been a few other things that have happened in this period. And old me would have just drank through these things to not feel or deal with it and just cram that all down there. But now I've actually had to sort of sit and process these things. And what I found helpful is journaling, dealing with my emotions, writing down things, talking to friends and being open about it. I think for me, just being open and honest about how I feel with other people is helpful, because I think a lot of men do just push everything down. But allowing myself to be open makes it okay for other people to relate and to talk about it. And sometimes I think if you open the door, then other people can sort of do the same. So I think that's been quite nice. There's nothing to be ashamed of talking about your feelings. Everyone has them. Everyone has these things we all go through. But it's just that quiet still of dealing with things, which has been quite tricky. As I said, my immediate go-to would just be to have a drink, but instead I'm trying to just sit with them, good and bad. They all pass over a certain amount of time. I've spent time reading things on Stoicism and Marcus Aurelius and how I can control my perceptions and how I meet things and how I react to them, rather than my old previous self, or getting upset about things, or playing a victim. Everything I've done in my life so far has been my fault, and I need to own that responsibility. But I can't control other things or other ways, or even how emotions or feelings come to me, but I can choose how I deal with them. And now that actually just feels quite nice and quite present. I think over the last couple of years, I've cried more than I probably have in my whole 37 years of being alive. I think I've repressed all that for a long time. And I've been more emotional than I probably ever have in the last couple of years of my life. And I'm not quite sure how it's happened, whether it is that kind of like elastic, like my body and my brain is now caught up because it feels safe. Whereas the first like couple of years of sobriety, like I'm still learning, I'm still getting used to things, I'm still understanding sort of who I am. But now I've spent enough time not drinking, progressing, doing things, and channeling my energy into other avenues like fitness, weightlifting, running. I like reading, and I like just progressing. And I think all of these things help to keep my brain and everything intact. But yeah, the biggest thing I want to get out of this video for guys that are maybe thinking about stopping drinking or have stopped drinking to a certain point is just the stillness and the emotions. And I think that is something that I wasn't quite prepared for. And I do enjoy my daily dog walks in the morning. It just helps get me grounded. It keeps me present. It just helps me think about my day. But sometimes things just catch you off guard. You don't really expect these things to come in your brain. You're like, okay, that's the thing. And instead of trying to push it down like I used to, it's just sitting with it, processing it, acknowledging it. Some of it might be true, some of it might not. Like sometimes our thoughts are not always accurate. Our brains can be wicked devices sometimes, just in the way they act and tell you things, or maybe lies. But I think just acknowledging it and sitting with it has been the best thing. And even just writing about it has helped me quite a lot. But I found it's probably why a lot of addicts, I don't know if I class myself as an addict, it always feels, I don't know, maybe that's more drug use, but I think I've got an addictive personality, and channeling that all or nothing drinking energy into fitness has worked for me. And I'm in the best shape I've probably been in my whole life. And I enjoy it. I love doing these things and these challenges and proving to myself that I can do more. And I think in the beginning of the drinking, that was quite hard because I was 115 kilos, I was chubby, I was overweight, my anxiety was at an all-time high. I was having panic attacks and things like that. And that was one of the big reasons why I stopped, because I wanted my freedom back, because I just felt like I was trapped. It felt like my life was just shrinking and I didn't like that. And that was part of the reason why I had to stop. So since I've stopped drinking, I've had no panic attacks. I'm much more present. I'm happier, I'm grounded. I know who I am and I know what direction I'm going in. But all of these things take time. That's the thing. I always want to rush through these things. I always want the next immediate result. Six-pack abs, money from a business or whatever. But everything just takes time. And that's okay. Everyone's got their own journey. And I think in the beginning, it's just getting through those minutes, those hours, those days, and just taking it slowly, being honest with yourself. Now, I don't know how much of this video actually makes much sense, but some of the things in it, it's just some of the revelations and things I've come across when I've stopped drinking. But I just want to share a bit of my story and just hope it helps someone else. That's all I'm doing. I want to impact other people with what I've done and what I've accomplished over the last 5 years, because I'm almost a completely different person 7 years ago. And I'm making these videos for my younger self just to document the process of me building and growing. And the whole channel is basically about being better than yesterday. It's going to be about fitness, mindset, stoicism, all these things kind of combined, because that's who I am now. I'm just hoping it helps someone else. So I'll see you in the next one.